To Moe's, I threw up.
Can we do an acapella? Welcome to Moe's.
Welcome to Moe's.
No.
You would be last.
You've got to go higher.
Why should I be the highest pitch? You're the one with the highest pitch voice.
You're the one with the smallest.
Fittest of the Coast just came out here to do the first workout of their online qualifier.
Now we're going to watch Travis demo the workout. It's a 20-minute AMRAP of 40-calorie row, 20 box step overs, 40-calorie row, 20 burpee box jump overs.
And I threw up.
Alrighty, we're about to be in for 20 minutes of fun.
Hey, I know that guy.
Which one?
Welcome to Moe's.
Welcome to
Oh, and
Moe's.
we're off. Why didn't you start off with the Trevor Tug?
You know, I like to keep people on the edge of the seat, and I realize it is not efficient and doesn't do anything for you. And it was just a joke that we created one time, but
It just kind of looks cool.
it does.
Everyone, you see me laughing right now because you rode over 2,000 cal per hour.
It got up to around 2,600.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Yes. Well, okay, to preface this, I always do that anytime there's a row workout that it starts on. I always will go into a full sprint for about 3 or 4 pulls, get it up, and then I'll get 3 or 5 cows and then settle into my...
Are we
All
still
right,
talking
so
about
enough
rowing?
talking about you. Everywhere.
Sorry, I know. Yeah, we'll get into the
Yeah,
workout.
we'll get into this.
All right. You started laughing because I said, come on, I dare you to hold that. Don't be soft.
And then Gilpin said, you won't.
Yeah. Here we go.
Yeah, so it should be pretty obvious from just looking at the structure of this workout that rowing is going to be a huge portion of your overall score. And I think getting your pacing right here in this early round, especially after watching people go, is very important. You're going to feel way better in this row, but it's very easy to come out hot. And we have so much data from previous workouts that are very light, very simple, where people just feel good and come out too hot and just put way too much pressure on their systems in minute 15 of the workout. So be conscious of that when you set your pace. Travis here was at, what pace was he holding?
I wrote I wrote his splits as like a general average, but you were around 1,500 for this first row. You definitely started off faster, but kind of tapered it down.
Yeah, so finishing at 135, and then Megan is right next to him, so we can have kind of 2 gauges. So what was her pace?
Megan was around 1150 for her first row. Megan's one of our on-site affiliate members, and she's pretty fit. She's good at this type of stuff, so we thought it'd be good to kind of showcase both of them and just to give a different perspective of a female doing this workout, because there's no scaling on the calories. It's 40 for both. So I think the workout strategy is just like a little bit different for guys versus girls. In
Also,
this.
first shout out to everybody that came out and did this with us, the whole TTT Athletics group. It was pretty cool to have everybody here at night with that kind of like energy and crowd. So big thank you to everybody for coming out and partaking in this.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I was talking to CTP and I was like, man, it's a really good vibe when everyone comes out here and just like people are suffering and people are cheering. I get to watch Travis throw up. It's all good stuff.
Those are all the positives.
Yeah. All right, so Travis is back on the rower. I think for most people, the step-ups are like kind of the most recovery-oriented part of the workout. You can maybe speed up a little bit, but it's unloaded. So most people were kind of just doing it unbroken, and it's just like almost an opportunity for you to kind of catch your breath before getting back to the rower.
Yeah,
Would you guys agree with that?
I took some splits on it too. So like Travis's fastest step over split was 47 seconds. His slowest was 57. So over the course of 20 minutes, dropping off 10 seconds on that movement. Megan was a little bit different. She went like 41, and she went to a minute. She went back to 50. So it's like she almost kind of used it as a pacer, like you were saying. So obviously that third round where she did step ups, or the third time she got to do step ups, she backed it off a little bit.
Yeah. Every round of rowing has like your first row, your first 40 cals, you're fresh. Your second 40 cals, your legs are maybe a little bit more tired from the step ups. But then after the burpee box jumps, I think that's where it starts to get like
real.
Extra real. So you got to be prepared that as you go deeper into this workout, holding whatever your initial pace is going to get like exponentially harder and harder and harder. So you either just plan that you're going to fall off a couple 100 cals per hour and just start a little hot like Travis did, or go extra conservative in your first one and use your fight when it starts to get a little bit nastier.
Yeah. For me, I looked at knowing this, for me, the burpee box jump was going to be where most of the time was going to be spent and going to make you feel the most fatigued getting back onto the rower. And I already was prepared mentally knowing, hey, take the first like 5 or 6 cals to use that as the recovery to just kind of like settle back in. and then get the pace back up. I think a lot of times it's very easy. If I wanted to stay at like 1300, like I could have very easily, but being able to get the pace to right back up to where I tried to sustain, which was around, I said going in 1450 to 1500 was the target, but I'd say for the first couple rounds was able to sustain that.
Yeah, I mean, I think a kind of a blanket statement across the workout for everyone is like, there's so much rowing in this workout. Like Travis will have like a really high end score on this of what people could achieve in this, you know, like the full 20 minutes. And you only did the 3 sets of 20 burpee box jump overs.
Yeah.
So you had 7 40 cal rows in 20 minutes. So like that's a ton of interval rowing time. So I think it's so important for you to practice around warming up, getting into this to know, all right, like 20-minute workout, if I just had to do or just row for 20 minutes, like what's the average pace I could sustain for that, and at least use that as a starting point.
Yeah.
You don't want to be above that.
Yeah, and also something to consider, like we're watching some pretty fit people do this. If you are, you know, let's say a smaller masters 55 plus female athlete and you're holding 800 cals per hour, those 40 cals are going to take a really long time. Mm-hmm. So not only are you doing a bunch of 40 cal rows, but they're extra long in total time because you're just rowing at a slower pace.
Yeah.
And you don't have any sort of scale. Like everyone's doing 40 cals.
Right. Yeah. Something that we'll do that will be helpful for everyone is we created a spreadsheet that has basically starting at 2,000 cal per hour, which no one's going to hold, but it ranges all the way down to like 600, just to show perspective on if you rode 40 cals at this cal per hour, this is exactly how long it takes. So you can kind of grab that and use that as a reference when you're picking your plan and strategy for this. We'll put that down in the description below.
Yeah, and that's a big part. I think that's honestly the most strategic part of this overall workout is trying to figure out what type of pace you can hold here. Other little things maybe to think about are the transitions back into the rower after both movements and getting in there quickly. But the step-ups for most people were unbroken, and the burpee box jump overs are basically pace based on how messed up you are.
Yeah.
So there's really not much like overall strategic thinking here other than getting your pace kind of set and then being ready for the mental workload of like, you can even tell here by looking at Travis's face, like we're all 7 minutes
I think I look great right there.
You look great, but you could tell you're hurting.
Yeah.
I mean, but
right. So for me, the target for my 30-minute, to give you an idea, my 30-minute road test is around holding a 144, I believe is the average I've held for 30 minutes straight on the row. So for me, knowing the target of a 500-meter split based off how the screen was that we had set up, I was kind of pretty close to almost that target, all right? A 1,400-ish is around a 145, somewhere in there. So if you know that or have a 20-minute gauge on a test, that's going to give you a better reference point of like what you can sustain, knowing that you're doing this for 20 minutes. It's not 40 cals straight. Calories to meters definitely changes a little bit, right? Like the distance I was rowing, I don't even remember if you even caught that, but at the early end was like low 400, and then I was ending at 500 and something. So you're losing a lot of extra time from the cal per hour to meter perspective.
Yeah.
So if you have that target from a 20-minute or 30-minute test, a lot of people might not have that. But
I would say it's closer to what you could sustain for 30 minutes is what you should try to aim for in this, maybe even a little bit slower than that, just depending on, again, like how your CrossFit is right now in terms of fitness and what the burpee box jump overs do to your heart rate and your ability to calm yourself back down after finishing them.
Yeah, one thing I just noticed there, like so Travis has just finished his box jumps, or box step overs, but I didn't want to interrupt. But he was 2 seconds or 2.5 seconds from the time he finished his 40 cal row until his foot touched the top of the box in the step ups. If you watch in the background of this video, and probably most people doing the workout, you kind of like finish, put the thing back in, take your straps off. You can lose 5-ish seconds, and there are a decent amount of transitions back and forth from the box. So that's like a free little area of fitness that you can maybe take advantage of, thinking like, all right, it's not necessarily that I got to row at this max effort throttle pace where I feel like I'm killing it. You can pull back a tiny bit from that and have some urgency in the transition from thing to thing. So think about those little things throughout the course of the workout that can help you go faster, but not necessarily take that much more physical energy to do.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like he was jumping out of the rower's seat, but he's just very deliberate and urgent in the transition.
Yeah, I don't think there's no movement in this. There's no movement in this where you need like that kind of like pause, kind of rebreath, and get yourself collected, you can get right back onto it and go.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can just slow your pace, right? Like if you need that deep breath of kind of like recovering, to me, I always keep the foot straps a little looser. So no matter what, I don't have to really mess with them. And then when you are in that point and you do need that deep breath, like just slow the cadence for a couple cows, but then like get it back up.
Yeah, something that I wanted to mention that's worth note on the female side is I look at Megan's splits on the box step overs, and like her fastest was 41 seconds. So that 20-inch for taller females, you're going to be able to move so much faster getting up and over the box. Obviously, just relative to height, like your pace, your step up pacing, you weren't like sprinting it. You could definitely do it faster, but you weren't like going super slow. And I don't think you could be near 41 seconds at like like almost a max effort, just based on how you have to step down, touch both feet, and so forth. So I just think like for taller females, a little bit of strategy there. Maybe if your burpees are slower, like really try and burn it down on step over speed, because I just think the angle at where you're placing your foot, not having to go into deep hip flexion, makes a big impact and doesn't impact breathing as much, and you're not using as much leg drive as you would for a taller box.
Yeah. Were Megan's splits faster than Trav in all of them, or just the first one?
She was 41, 1 minute and 50 seconds. So 2 of the 3 she was faster than.
Yeah. I mean, even if you keep those second 2 at 40 seconds, you just gained another 40 seconds. So, I mean, you gained a lot of time by being able to do that, which...
What were Travis's slowest?
57. Your slowest step over is 57.
Yeah, so if you theoretically could, as a female athlete, be going 40 per set, or low 40s per set, you could potentially make up like 45 seconds overall on the workout. It's like 3 to 5% of total time saved just by
step over.
Yeah, and I think most people think of it as kind of a rest, but there is some time to be able to make up. This is really a good workout for a taller athlete with that much rowing, and especially on the girl side, a lower box to step on.
Yep. Yeah, and then looking at her rows as well, so she was around 1150, 900, 850, and then what's interesting is you see it kind of like go down and then back up to 1,000, 900, 1150. So I think it shows like there's a much bigger impact getting off the burpee box jump over. So I just think in terms of expectation, expect the 2 rows with the step ups in between to feel kind of like a longer row. Like you get that little break where you get off and you do step ups, but the one where you come off and you get back from the burpee box jump overs, that's the one where you kind of have to like suck it up, get on. Remember the 3-pull rule of getting your cow per hour speed up as quickly as possible within 3 strokes, and then try to settle back in.
Yeah, it could also be something where you strategically set up that the row after the burpee box jump is like another 50 or 100 calories per hour slower.
Yeah.
And the one after the step up, you try to stay like a little bit more on the throttle for the first 20, 30 calories in that set. So there's a little bit to play with there, but I think from an effort and perception standpoint, just be ready for post-burpee box jumps is just nasty.
I mean, every time after the step over, like your legs just kind of felt a little heavy, but not to the degree of like, oh, I'm really going to have to slow on the row. It was just like there, but each time coming off of the burpee box jumps, you definitely felt the effects of like getting back to the row where I really wanted to stay almost at like 1,300.
Where at this point right now, about what pace is Megan rowing at?
All right, so we're 12:50 in, and she is. Stand by. Ask another question while I look that up.
Let me fill in the time with nothing.
You look like you asking him the same question in the background.
Yeah. She's at around 1,000. She's at 1,000 cal per hour right now.
Yeah.
So she's finishing the. She's in her second round, and she's finishing 40 cal row right now.
Based on what I saw, that's actually still really fast. Yeah. Like I was seeing some masters athletes that were trying to hold on the male side like just under 1,000. So there's going to be a lot of people that are not holding over 1,000 cals per hour later in this workout. So again, I'll say it one more time, get your paces right and really be cautious of going out too hot in that first one, because it gets real gross over time.
All right, your burpee box jump over speed was pretty consistent. You were around.
You gave me the compliment when I was in the middle.
You were around thanks, Mike. Yeah, you're not really falling off. You're around 90 seconds for all of them. Is there anything you would do in terms of speed up, slow down? Do you think there's worth pushing those at all?
I mean, I knew for me, I'm stronger on the rower than I am on the burpee box jump. So for me, pushing the burpee 5 to 6 seconds could have impacted me on the row way worse than me just kind of like finding a cruise pace. I think I'm just naturally, when I do burpees like that, I have a kind of just a smoother cadence that I like to try to stick to. but it allows me to get kind of right onto the row and make that up. Knowing I'm on the row for 2 minutes, I can kind of find the buffer between the two.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's
But
one you ran
that
in
is
there.
also one thing that, to highlight, Mike actually said it every round, was like, after the burpees, make sure you step off. Like, that is something to think about, that you aren't jumping off that final one, because then that's a no rep. So like, you do need to step down.
Yep.
And when you know it's the final one, you just kind of like want to jump and then hop right onto the row.
Yeah.
But don't have someone there yelling it at you the amount of times in qualifiers and workouts.
Yeah, you start thinking about that transition, so you just forget, because it is weird to like control yourself down into the where you're normally going for that next rep and then walk to your transition. You kind of naturally start deviating off that normal like track that you're doing for the rep. So yeah, I think that's something that's definitely notable and important to remember.
I had like the best thought on the planet. It was going to crush this video and make it great, and I completely forgot. So
I was like, what's this about to be?
Yeah.
I was like, man, this has got to be something really good.
I like had something, and I was waiting for you guys to talk, and then it got to me, and I was like, I forgot now.
I think another something else, like let's talk more like row technique. So in a workout like this, you're hunched over on the step overs, you're hunched over on the burpee box jump overs, so you're kind of hinging for 20 minutes. A lot of people are definitely going to feel it in their lower backs in this. And I think something that can really help is when you set your feet up, make sure you put it in a lower setting. What do we call them? Stirrups?
Yeah, the little straps.
Put them down lower where it'll allow you to not have to go into such deep hip flexion. And it basically saves your back a little bit. It allows you to sit with a much more tall, upright posture when you're rowing and not feel as compressed and hunched over, which, you know, people can argue all day long about perfect positions and mechanics on row setup, but when it comes to CrossFit and you're mixing it with other movements, you have to take advantage of the ability to manipulate how you feel on the rower when it's comboed with other movements.
Yeah, it's very hard to maintain that optimal mechanics when muscles are blown up from other working movements. The thing I was going to say, which now that I'm about to say it, is definitely not the most important thing in the world, but of people within this workout that will potentially need to push the pace on burpee box jumps, really small athletes who know they're going to get crushed on the rower, are probably going to have to be a little bit more out of their comfort zone and take a little bit more of a push mentality there. Now, you're not going to save an enormous amount of time, but if you can save 15 to 20 seconds on the burpee box jump sets, it at least buys you another 7 to 10 seconds for each one of those rows where you're almost certainly going to lose time as a shorter athlete here. So that would be the one caveat to people. Almost everyone, I would say, hey, burpee box jumps, just pick a smooth pace and go. But if you know you're trying to put up a decent score and this workout is like not built for you because you're 5 foot tall or 5'3", you might want to just be a little bit more urgent for this movement within both of the sets.
I mean, if you can even maintain a 110 pace per burpees each time, right there alone, you just gained a minute, right? So that on the rower is a big buffer. So
yeah, but you got to be able to do it and push your pace and then still get on and hold a row. You can't just like send it and do 3 seconds a rep and finish in a minute and then just get on the rower and be dead.
I think you got to have a lot of confidence in that, because like Travis only, you did 3 rounds of burpee box jump overs. The effort to take off 10 seconds of those 3
would have been a lot
versus the 7 rows that you're doing that are, close to 90 seconds, 2 minutes, whatever. You lose so much more time over the course of those.
Oh, what a slow transition.
Yeah, that was not the greatest one, Travis. I'm glad you called yourself out.
For everybody watching,
Welcome
this was the point of when Mose really felt like it was coming up, had a little too close to this workout time, so the effects in the stomach were happening.
Yeah, something to note, too, is that this is a little bit of a strange ending workout in that people's finishing kicks started much earlier than normal 20-minute Metcons. Like if you were doing
we started 2 minutes.
Lunges, burpees, chest to bar pull-ups, like most people are not kicking at the 18-minute mark.
No.
But if you're doing this and you're on a rower and you have 40 cals left and you're rowing at 1,000 cals per hour, you're just sitting on the rower for the last 2 minutes of the workout. So most people were actually picking their paces up in their final row versus, the other rows. And that meant the kick was like at the 17:30 mark. So just be prepared within this workout that a lot of people will be starting a kick really early and be spending a lot of time at the row to finish the workout.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good point. And this workout, I mean, it's a long time window. So for those of you doing the qualifier, you have until Wednesday to submit this. You can register by then. It's pretty competitive now, and I think this is a very repeatable workout. So I would say to give your best effort on the front end, like the number one big takeaway is it's a 20-minute workout. If it was a 5K run, you would not run your first 1K faster than what you plan on finishing it.
I might.
I've done that.
I've done that 95%, 97, 99%. Yeah. Pace.
Yeah.
All right. Guys, anything else as a big takeaway on this?
No, I don't think so. Just be prepared again for this. I think this is one where even though it's long, there will probably be a bottleneck score on a lot of the people ending on rower or like getting one step up. So just be really conscious of your finishing, like where you are in the workout. Like if you're finishing and you can get close to finishing the rower and get off and get one step up or one burpee box jump, it could potentially be valuable.
Yep.
So
I mean, I knew that finishing, I was like, you got to go hard to give yourself time on the step overs.
now we're getting a little bit of love for everybody else getting crushed.
Yes. Huge thanks to the Fittest of the Coast crew for coming out. Week 1 of the qualifier.
Ooh, look at that.
We'll put a sign-up link in the description below. Good luck, everyone participating.
Go crush it.